Hi, I'm Chris Garver, and today I'm going to show you how to draw a peony. So peony are probably one of my favorite flowers to draw and tattoo. I mean, they can be very simple, they can be very complex. I am going to show you how to draw a very simple one first. Basically, you just draw an oval, and then you'll have some petals coming around it. They get a little smaller at the top and they'll be a little bigger at the bottom. So I would imagine this would be the center of the flower. I always start with the front middle petal because everything builds off of that one. Then you just kind of do little cloud shapes. This one, the side ones kind of like curl in, so I'll do a little line here. And then I'll add the outer petals. And then on this side, there's a little flip. And then this one kind of comes out from behind this one. Do a little flip on this side. And the same here. Then the petals have, the leaves have like a three point. So when I draw these, I'll draw like the center of the leaf, and then I'll just add like the little boom, boom. Then you can add these in there.
Why are peonies your favorite?
I like peonies a lot because they fill up the space really well. They're not super complicated, but you can get fancy with them if you want to. You know, I think they're just really pretty too. So this would be like a very basic one. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more complex. Do a little bit bigger. So like I said, I will start with the middle, the front petal. You can get more fancy with the frills than the traditional. And then instead of doing just 4, sometimes you can do as many as you want. You can, like, I'll stagger it up. Like this one kind of wraps around the bulb a little more. Like this would be like the center. So when you think about the petals, you have to imagine that they're really wrapping around something in the middle. So they're all kind of curling around it. Then I'll add some more inner petals. As you see, I can do a ton of them if I want. You can do another petal kind of like flipping. And you can have, you know, like they curl around, but then as it gets bigger, they kind of fall away too. You can even add different flips. And just like when I was showing you how to draw a rose, I sometimes will do some contour lines just to really show the shape. And I think about it, all the petals come from here. So they all would kind of, you know, they emanate from where the stem connects to the bottom of the flower. And you never want to do it just like all round, but you know, it has to go in and out. You know, sometimes I could do like, I'll do like 3 main shapes, and then I'll break those 3 shapes into smaller shapes just to make it a little bit more interesting to look at. You know, like these would be the 3, but then out of those 3, I'll break it down into smaller. And with the leaves, you can get a little fancier with the shapes too. Sometimes I'll add like an extra point. I like to sketch a little bit fast too, but I'm showing you how to do it. But when you sketch fast, it kind of gives it a little bit more of a lively look, and then when you fine tune it, it just has more life to it. Even if you draw it like really more precisely at the end.
When you tattoo these, do you do them mostly freehand?
I usually freehand peonies just because I'm so used to drawing them. But you know, you can also, if you have like a bunch that you like, you can keep using those same ones over and over again as long as I don't think there's anything wrong with using the same ones over and over again. Especially, I mean, it's really the most important thing when you're tattooing is to make the finished product look good. So there's no cheating. You know, if you want to use a iPad or whatever, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And you can even, once you draw one out, you can trace it, you can make different changes, you can flip it, look at it in the mirror, you'll see things that you want to change. You know, sometimes I'll draw the same peony 4 or 5 times and I'll make a little bit different every time. And before you know it, you got like 20 or 30 peonies that you could use in your tattooing, so or you're drawing and painting. Even when I trace it after I do the red, I make changes sometimes, so. And it's a pretty free type of flower to draw. There's like not really, you can make them look a lot of different ways that'll look cool. Like there's a lot of artists that do them really cool, but they look so different from each other. It's just a matter of what you like. You can get way more realistic than this. If you really look at, you know, I know the Chinese, they did a lot of really beautiful peonies. I was looking at some Japanese screens that they have them. They're all really good. They have so many different angles, and like some of them will be like sideways. It'll be kind of like the petals will be flopping. You can get really expressive. You can like show that there's gravity affecting it.
What motifs and like elements go the best with these?
A peony is considered a summer flower, and they represent like abundance and wealth. So since it's a summer flower, I guess you wouldn't normally put it with any subject matter that wouldn't be in the summertime. And generally in Japanese tattooing, peonies really go with anything that they consider Chinese. And a lot of things that they would consider Chinese would be like tigers, you know, like because they don't have tigers in China. I mean in Japan. But you know, also like some of the mythological creatures that are considered Chinese would be like phoenix, kirin. Foo dogs are one of the main animals that definitely would go with peony. They even have songs about it. There's a song called Karashishi Botan. And Botan is the Japanese name for peony, and Karashishi is foo dog. So even there's like a long history of those two going together. So honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a Japanese tattoo of a foo dog that didn't have peonies. You know, if you see them with a different type of flower, you're like, whoa, that's weird. Not that I would care if you did it, but if your client goes to Japan, somebody might pull them aside and be like, yo, that's wrong, dude. You got some Gaijin fantasy tattoo. So if you don't want to do that to them, do a peony. Uh-oh, my pen's dying. There we go. Ah!
You okay?
Sorry.
Coffee break.
Yeah, try to draw it loose if you can. You know, that way it won't be so stiff. You know, if you want to do like a final one, if you have a loose drawing that you're tracing, it'll still have that liveliness. So try to keep that in mind when you're drawing. When I started tattooing, I used to try to draw everything like super carefully. I remember I would be holding the pencil like really tight, you know, and then once I kind of loosened, I worked with a guy that used to draw really loose. He's like, oh man, just, you know, don't grab the pencil so damn hard and try to draw it faster. And then I just like totally drew fast over my really tight drawings in my sketchbook that I had drawn for like a year. And then they all looked a million times better. So, I mean, I guess you can go from, you know, super tight drawing to fast, and you can loosen it up too, so.
I feel like that's a beginner's error. You know, you start something and
You just want everything to be so perfect that you ruin it. Do you feel that way with guitar?
oh yeah, I used to hold on for
You
dear life.
gotta loosen up, and then it's easier, right?
Yeah.
So the middle of these, there's a lot of different ways to do it for tattooing. I kind of do like they have like a star shape, usually. So I'll do a little dip like this, and then I'll just do a 5-petal center. And then they have, you know, these little, I don't know what they're called, the pollen things. So these look good when you add a bud. You know, buds are always nice. Do like just one bud here for you guys, just so you can see. So they have some bigger leaves at the base, and then the kind of little skinnier, longer ones kind of come off of that. And then I'll have it like a pretty tight ball in the middle there. All right. So when you color them, they look a lot prettier too. Before you color them, they look a little bit like cabbages. Don't be afraid. Yeah, I really like doing these. These are cool. And then you can also, you can do different layers of them. You can separate them with the background. Usually if I have, you know, this one's just going straight up, but usually if I tattoo it on somebody's arm, I'll do different angles to kind of make it more interesting to look at. Sometimes I'll do like two, like one and then another one, then I'll add some background and then I'll have another one, so it looks really cool. And if it's going around another subject matter, you can do one in front and then you do, say you're doing a foo dog, then the foo dog's on rocks and then you could have another peony kind of like behind it. And that way you kind of really can develop a lot of depth. Hope you enjoyed watching. Good luck with your peonies.